Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk with J.O. This is your captain Jacktone Otieno, and Talk with J.O. is all about inspiring stories. We keep saying that everyone is important, everyone has a story to tell, and everyone's story is important and deserves to be told. Lots of greetings, man, from Atlanta, Georgia. But people say Alana?
Alana. It depends you're from what part.
Yeah, most people say Atlanta, Georgia, not Atlanta. But from Kenya kama mimi,
Atlanta,
Georgia.
Yeah.
My man, Jambiro mwenyewe.
It's VP.
My brother from another mother. You know? I am so happy that you made time to come on this show, man.
I'm glad, man. Finally, you're doing it international.
Yeah, man. So good, man. I'm so happy, so glad. Thank you for making time. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad to do it, man.
Yeah.
Exciting to see what you're doing, man, with the show.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
So I'd like us to start from, so those of you who don't know, I know at least me nakujua bana. From, way back, eh?
Yeah.
But for the sake of my viewer, or, someone who doesn't know you, I'd like you to introduce yourself.
All right. I go by the name Jambiro. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised I was born in Korogosho. I didn't know about that until later on.
Okay.
But then I was raised in Mathare. So I know more about Mathare more than Korogosho. But yeah, I'm born again. I used to be a DJ. I'm a DJ. I don't know.
No, you're still.
I think Lisha hang boots.
No, one's a DJ, always one.
All right, then. Yeah, there goes. I used to be with a group called Badilika DJs back in Kenya. Sisi ndo tulikuanga wale wa enzi za kwanza. I used to be the official DJ of Zaidi ya Mziki. If you know Fundi Wambao and all that, the Gospel Fathers and the Jokes.
Yeah.
But now I moved here. Now I'm with Sauti team, Sauti Award, Sauti Radio, Sauti One, Sauti Village, and all that.
Yeah.
Sauti staff.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
How long have you lived in the US?
And
here in Georgia, yeah.
Actually, if you ask somebody, sometimes it's hard to count because who's counting,
Yeah.
Because honestly, it feels like yesterday. But I know I came to the US the first time 2008. But I came for 2 months. For 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very long visit.
6 months, eh?
I was actually doing a tour with Zaidi ya Mziki, so we went across the country.
Okay.
And then nikaenda mtaani nikasema, I like what I saw. Halafu mimi huyo. Mimi huyo. Yeah, so and then I came back 2009, and ever since, man, this has become home.
Okay.
It's been tough, but it's been good and bad at the same time, but that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the good and bad, eh?
Yeah.
But I'd like us to start from, where you were born, how you grew up.
Right.
Said you were born in Korogosho, but the life they knew is Mathare one.
Right.
Yeah, so take me through that journey.
The Korogosho part, actually, I didn't know about it. Believe it or not, I was told about it maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason, familia yangu we hide stories from each other. I don't know, like, there's a lot about me, like, prior to me knowing who I am.
Yeah.
There's a lot about me that I'm actually getting to know. And if I don't ask, nobody's going to tell me.
It's not your family alone, man.
That's not good.
I think I told you.
That's not good. And remember, there's something personal that happened to me. And I still don't know so much about my father who just passed on. But anyway, I found out that I was born in Korogosha. I always thought that I was born in Mathare. I was actually born in the house. I wasn't taken to the hospital or anything. There was my grandmother that was staying there, and there was another grandmother in Mathare. So I was born in one grandmother in Korogosha, and then I was moved. My mom moved to Mathare.
Okay.
And yeah, so Mathare has been home, and there's a lot I've learned about being in Mathare, man. There's a lot of brilliant minds and lots of talents, and it's just that what wanadarangiwa to Mathare, but then there's a lot of potential. And the biggest thing for me is that sometimes even we being in Mathare, we don't even realize like what we have.
Yeah.
But that is home, and that's what has made me who I am. I'm basically made in Mathare, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I lived in Mathare, and then at some point I moved to Isli because of there's a lot of story that is in between there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know, Jay, you yes lived in Mathare, but I know you grew up in very tough upbringing, very poor background, and I know it led you to many things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got into gangs.
Alright.
You even got into prison at some point.
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about that story. How was because I know you grew up in a very tough background.
Yeah, I mean, being born in Mathare, especially, the truth is that most of the kids in Mathare, they don't even know both of their parents. And most likely, the dads are never there. I don't know what happens. The dads decide hit and run, and it's always, of course, the mom, because the mom is the one who gets to carry the baby.
Yeah.
And so that's the story of many people for us in Mathare, and for me, it was not exceptional. And my mom was, okay, something else. I didn't even know who my dad was for a long time. And so I was living with my mom, and then there was a guy that I thought he was my dad.
Okay.
Kumbe, he was not my dad.
Yeah.
But then life became tough, especially for mom, being that she was a breadwinner, just a single mom, and selling changa. That was the ultimate business. Before that, she was doing a job at somewhere in Huruma. There was a company called Furaha Toys. And she used to make some toys and come with them back home, and we were like excited. But then that job came to an end, abruptly, and then she never got another job. So that's when she started selling changa with other women, and became the business. And actually, most of my family members used to sell changa. Ilikuwa ni kama biashara familia. It's like we used to be like a brewery.
Yeah.
ya changa. That's what we survived on. One of the toughest thing was not having food. Something that especially here in the US we take for granted. I visit people and I see them putting a big plate of food, and then mtu anakula kanusu ama a quarter, and then they don't even get to finish. And then mimi nafikiria manze mtaani, that's something that I would never have seen, like atumenipata chakula ati aishi.
Yeah.
And so that was really tough for me growing up, especially as a young boy. Unajua vijana wanapenda kukula. Tunapenda yani kujaza. And so you can imagine umetoka kucheza soka, you're tired, you're hungry, manze unakimbia home, hakuna ene. Unasikia maniba manze wanapika. Because our walls were made out of that. Ni matope, yani nyumba ya matope, na mabati, na cartons.
The sound, the smell, kila kitu.
Literally, it's like you're in the same room. There's no sound. Even when they whisper, you can hear.
Yeah.
So imagine, unasikia njaa, alafu next door neighbor, unasikia wakipika, pengine siku wamepika chapo. Unanusa chapo, manze nyinyi hamna hata maji. So man, that was really one of the toughest things. I actually I believe my family discovered something called Ngoja Goto. I don't know if you've heard of that. Gonja, I think Gonja, Kikuyu man.
Okay.
It's like, the direct translation is like fold your
ear. Okay.
That is, I don't know why they came up with that, but really what that is that it's when you have small ingredients like uko na viazi, uko na kitunguu, uko na nyanya, lakini they're not enough.
Yeah.
Na uko na unga. So nasema if you make these things separate, hakuna vile watu watatoshea. But if you mix them, tatoshea. So what happens is that unakaranga kitunguu na nyanya, you put all the tomatoes and the onions, and then you put all your warus, potatoes, and then you boil them. When they are really, really boiled and they are soft, you add corn flour, unga, and then you mix them all. So you eat 2 in 1 basically.
Wow.
Mboga na ugali ziko the same place. And then that one unakunywa na strong tea ama na maji, na kula ugali tamu basically. And that was out of poverty. And believe it or not, as much as it was out of poverty, ni tamu. Actually, at some point, nisha make later on when it's not like I didn't have any, but It's one of those things that you discover, you're like, oh wow. But yeah, so there is that was part of the my upbringing,
Yeah.
and especially in Mathare, one of the problem ni ati mavijana at some point, because of lack of role models and mentors, people to look up to. Well, people with positive vibes.
Yeah.
People that can teach, hey, there's more to life than. So we end up looking up to people who are stealing, and how ndio role models unataka kuwa mgondiki kwa mso. And so for me, actually, apart from being a thief, the only thing that I wanted to be was to be makanga. Yeah, because I thought, hey, sitaki kwenda kusanya. You know what happens when you go to steal? Kwanza hiyo time ilikuwa mob justice, karao kushoot, you can be burned and all that. Maboys wangu wengine tulikuwa nao shule waliangushwa, and for reason. And so those were the people that's what I wanted to be, like a makanga, because I didn't want to be a thief.
Yeah.
But makanga pia unajua wanashika cash for you every day. Alafu one of my favorite thing, actually it was not because of money. The fact that naona Mathare nimekimbia, nimedandia, nimedondoka. Alafu the driver didn't have to stop, man. I love that. And then pale kuna mother anakuja anasema beba unadondoka, mother anaingia unakimbia na mbedere twende, like for me that was really fun. And believe it or not, I knew nikishamaza class 8, I didn't believe that I was gonna go to high school. Like that was like out of question. I thought kiamaza chuo class 8 and kwa makanga. And unfortunately, that's the life of many kids in Mathare, whereby we don't see beyond. Like I said, there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of potential, but we don't see beyond that, and that was one of me. So familia yangu mazee tuli hustle tu sana. My brother became a thief at some point. He ameshapigwa na mawe mara kadhaa kwa hiyo streets, ameenda kwa jela mara kadhaa. And for me, nikiwa actually 9 years old nilikuwa ameenda. So this is how I used to do, so that to finish this question. We'd go to beg in the streets of Nairobi, because sikutaka kuwa mgondi, but I was still young to become a makanga. So nilikuwa naenda na tuna beg, tunaenda pale Nation Center, Woolworth, kuna place pale Nakumatt. I think it used to be Woolworth.
Ilibomolewa.
Right.
It got burnt actually.
Right. So hiyo Nation Center, that area. So that's where we used to beg. My mom actually at this point alikuwa anapewa ile twins. So alikuwa anakaa pale Bank of India. So yeye anakaa hapo, mimi niko hii side nyingine. When I get something, I go there to give her money. And so we'd go beg and get something. If we don't get something, unfortunately, wase home watakula. Yani mimi nilikuwa breadwinner nikiwa class 8, nikiwa 8 years old. And so ikafika mali kwa manze unaenda, you're not getting anything. And so it became tough where you're going home, don't have anything, you've been in the streets the whole day. And so what happens? The peer pressure. There are other young people who are going to steal. Because stealing, there's always going to be somebody with something that you can steal. Of course, that's your life on the line, but that's what used to happen. And so I got into the peer pressure, nikaanza kufanya na maboys. And actually yule mtu alinifundisha kuiba, unfortunately alishaangwa na makarao. And so for me, nilishikango nikiwa 9 years old. And for me, I think that was actually a good thing that happened, because that was my turning point.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Unajua unasema hivyo, umepaint your picture. Right now, Jay, I walk through Nation Center. There are still women. There are still kids who are out there begging. Like that. I don't know if you've seen. I'm sure you've seen that when you come to Kenya. That same. At same area, your Nation Center, Bank of India, you will still find women and kids out on the streets begging, and not because they want to, but I think most of them like genuinely I need.
Excuse me.
No.
One thing actually about that is that sometimes I go to the same streets. I meet some of them that used to be in the streets. Pamoja.
Wow.
Some of them are still there. I know them, I can remember them. Some of them, they remember my face, maybe they don't remember my name. And also there's another organization, they're called Love Indeed. They also do bring streets families together to give them food and support. I went I joined them the other day, and I knew some of the guys. We used to be in the streets together.
Wow.
Like we are still age mates, but they've been in the streets for that long. And so that is something that has been there for a long time, and it's still there. I hope and I wish there's something we can do about it. And there's a lot we can do about it.
Got you. So 9 years old, you got arrested, ukapelekwa prison.
Yeah.
as a 9-year-old.
Actually, your prison in Kabete.
Oh, in Kabete.
And actually,
Yeah.
at some point, I lived in Kabete, and I didn't know that that prison was there.
Oh,
Because nilikuwa
you were a
police
kid?
bag yangu.
Yeah.
Sikujua.
Yeah.
So later on nikakuja nikaambia ile place ulikuwa umeshikwa ni pale. Niko what? Yeah, man. But that is then, man.
Yeah. But how was it a turning point for you?
For me, because it was naitanguaje, it's one of those when niliingia prison nikacheki other kids. Some of them were younger than me. And I also saw other people who were older than me. That particular place, you could not only be there if 19 years old was the oldest. So if you're more than 19 years, you go to community or other places.
Yeah.
And so the older guys were like, man, we come here all the time. We get arrested, we go home, and we do something else. I'm like, and that's the life that you like? Like, you're okay with that?
Yeah.
For me, I was so disturbed because of I was so disturbed because of the fact that that's the life that they live.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not the life that I want. I don't want to come because pale ikuanga poa. First of all, even the food that was there, it was not like food. Ni kama mboga zilikuwa zimewekwa like they boiled. You're given a plate na on your mboga. It's like one piece of kale, skuma, and then na maji, alafu na ugali basically unaguzisha. Alafu man, I saw the kids who got sick there, and some of them even died while we were there.
Yeah.
I just saw devastation, and I saw darkness in terms of speaking of my life. I saw if I follow this route, hakuna vile ndatoboa. And so it bothered me a lot to an extent where I actually had to pray to God. And one thing about Kenya is that the good thing about Kenya is a praying nation.
Yeah.
Kenya, we have lots of preachers. Sometimes we ignore them, but you know what? They know what they're doing.
Everywhere. Preacher in the matatu, at the market,
and park. And that's how they came through for me. Being in the streets.
Yeah.
And you're in the streets, if you go to Pale Jivanji and like just you'll hear there's always somebody preaching.
Yeah.
There's somebody preaching.
Yeah.
There's a time where the churches in the city would have like their speakers outside. So they'll preach and is it noise? It's noise. That's just the truth. But they're preaching the word of God.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I was there in prison, and I thought, okay, I gotta do something about this. But what can I do? Hatuna chapa ya kubregiana. There's nobody ati nampatia tao moja ati waniachi. Nobody to bribe. And so I was like, even if they're old, well, there's always somebody to bribe. But there was no money to bribe. I didn't know how to get out. And so I only had to pray. When I prayed to God to get out of prison and to get out of poverty. Hizo vitu mbili tu. Of course, there's so many things that ningetaka, but those two things, because I knew if I came out of prison, then out of poverty, then there's no reason for me to go to the streets. And that's why it was a turning point for me because of what could have happened. And I was like, I don't want this to happen to me. Yeah.
So after that, where did you go? Because I know you're part of like street children.
Right.
Or people who are taken by Deliverance Church.
Right.
Easily.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So this is what happened because when we went back home, when I actually went back home, because I didn't want to go to the streets, so the other alternative was to go back to school. The reason why I was actually in the streets to begin with is because my folks could not afford school fees to go to school. And so zile stars I'm just at home. I'm like, mavijana matwende. And so when I went back home, at this point we were staying with my grandmother. My mom went through a really, really tough time. And I was actually told that she actually attempted suicide because of the hardship that she went through. But with thank God, she never died. But then we started living with my grandmother.
Yeah.
Shosho manze alikuwa yani woman of faith. Shona mtu anakwambia wekelea sembe kwa ugali. Wekelea maji kwa jiko.
Unga kwa maji.
No. Yeah. Maji kwa jiko
ya ugali.
Na hamna unga. So nauliza, Jojo,
unga inatoka wapi?
Kweli unga ni ya nini? Unga inatoka wapi? How are we gonna make ugali without unga? But she'll be like, wewe acha mambo yako, wekelea
maji.
Sometimes tuko na mboga, anaambia wekelea maji. Somehow somebody would walk in, packet of flour. Tutakula ka ugali, auntie, uncle, somebody somewhere, a friend would come, and people knew because
Amazing.
my grandmother was like very giving, such that if she found you in the streets of Nairobi stranded, she'd be like, "Twende kwangu." She doesn't even know you, and she doesn't even have like a big house. It was just one room. Lakini atakuleta. I think because of that, God would really bless her a lot and all that. But not all the time tunaweza kulikuwa napata. Sometimes hakuna. Kamaji kanachemka. Kama kulikuwa na mboga, unakula mboga mnalala. Kama hakuna mboga, naambia na tuonane kesho. Kila mtu anajirusha kwake. And so because of her faith, she actually asked me, "Hey, let's go to school after I came out of prison." And then for me, of course, I was like, again, sure, you don't even have money. We didn't even eat. And you're telling me to go to school and we don't have money. But then of course she was like, don't argue with me. So we went to school, and how it changed is because I went to school, and then at this point, it was before actually Deliverance Church was Compassion International.
Okay.
And Compassion was working with a local church, Redeemed Gospel Church. And so at that point when I went to school, Compassion was taking guys through the school. And so nilijua tu waliangalia wale watoto wamesota, akasema this guy looks more poor. So I was among the kids that were selected. And so for that particular time it was good to be poor because you really needed that. And so they selected a couple of us, and then we joined Compassion, like going to church. But then it was only going there on Saturday. But then it was good because they would take care of tuition fee and all those stuff. But then you go there on Saturday, they will give you food and they'll teach you the word of God. But then later on, I now even Deliverance Church came in. So
I see.
Because I was still at some point I was still tempted to go back to the streets. Actually, when I was actually still in the streets, I would go to Deliverance Church, but just to eat. They used to have a feeding program where we would go every evening and eat. And that's it. So they didn't have anything else that were doing, just going to feed us. So Compassion came through, and then the Deliverance Church decided to build structures for us. So they built structures, and I think that structure was not supposed to hold a lot of. We were like 21 boys.
Okay.
But I think that structure was supposed to hold less boys. So I was not supposed to be among the kids. But then on the day that they were bringing the kids in, we came, some of us who were not even in the number. But then the church looked at us, they're like, man, how can we let these kids go? So we joined, some of us started sharing beds, and so that's how Compassion and Deliverance Church, they played a big role in my life to be alive and to be where I am right now.
Amazing.
Fast
forward, because I think a week ago I was with you in South Carolina.
Right.
And you were speaking for one of the events for Compassion.
Right.
And I know you've done that for, I think the last, is it
11
years or
11 years or more.
Yeah?
So
Jay is an amazing, one of the key speakers for Compassion International, man. You do excellent, I mean, I was there, it's like, this is amazing. How, now fast forwarding to date, I mean, how does it feel? The same kid who many years ago got assistance by Compassion International, now is playing a part in ensuring that other kids in Africa and around other parts around the world get freed out of poverty.
To me, I think it's a bigger. To me, I feel like sometimes like I went through because the stuff that I went through because of that, because I love doing it. I love to. Actually, if you know me before, I'm not one of those people who can talk in public. Like public speaking, that was not
really.
I'm a DJ. You know what? Most of the DJs actually are behind the desk. And so even when we would go somewhere to speak, because my English was not good. First of all, in Thailand we don't speak a lot of English. So when we go to a place where we have to speak English, first of all, speaking in public is a lot of work. And then now I have to speak in English consistently. No. So we used to let, because I worked with ZDMZ for some time, we used to let Lena or Kaberere speak. Hao wengine wote tulikuwa nasema wewe Lena ongea, Kaberere ongea,
including akina Samu.
Kawangware wataongea kizungu watu wapi? Hata Mathare watu wakaongea hawajui kizungu. At least Mathare tunajaribu kiasi, unajua, at least Mathare tunajaribu Kawangware wachana. So I never used to speak English, and so when I moved over here and that opportunity presented itself of working with Compassion, I was like, wow. Sasa, not only because speaking English in Kenya can be slightly easier because you can mix English and Swahili. But now when you're speaking to Americans or people who are not from Africa, you basically have to speak English. And remember, there's a difference between an American English and a British English. In Kenya, we learn British. My friends, let me tell you, nilianza kupanda mlima. At first, it was not easy. That's just the truth. But one thing Compassion did that was really good is that they took us for training. Because the most important thing, I think one of the reasons why people hesitate on them, they're not able to speak in public, is when they don't have confidence in what they're saying. If you have confidence in what you're saying and in what you're saying, I think that's going to give you a build-up. Because even right now, I can't say that my English is 100% good. But one thing with English, there are many words to explain what you're saying. So I might say something, but the words that I'm going to use are kind of different from, or the vocabulary that I'm going to use are different. And so I learn, okay, there's what I'm trying to say, but how can I say this? And then, so that one improved a lot with time. And so when I was able to do that, and then I would see like, when I speak, a lot of kids are getting sponsored. And to me, thinking it's just the lives that are going to be changed. I think like somebody like me who didn't have an opportunity in life, they actually get a real opportunity in life because you actually get a real shot at life. Like you're meant to believe that you're not different from other kids. And because that's one thing that growing up in poor does to you. Inferiority complex. You think those are the guys when you're anaishi Muthaiga, they're better than you, wala anaishi nini I used to live in Mathare, so Muthaiga ilikuwa hapo. You think they are better than you because of where they live or who they are family members. But then when you have somebody who is telling you, it doesn't matter how they started. What matters is how they're going to finish. If kids in poverty can get that, and they have that opportunity just like the kid who lives in Muthaiga, I believe that can work a lot for them. And for me, when I speak and I see that, I see kids' life being changed. To me, that's my greatest joy. And to see life being changed.
And so last week when we were speaking, I think about 100 kids, got sponsors. Do you have like a rough number of how many kids have gotten sponsorship out of your speaking and engagements?
Honestly, I don't keep the numbers because sometimes you speak and the other people are going to sponsor even later. Like even we got 100, I guarantee you there are more that sponsored after that. And so I don't keep the numbers, but Compassion keeps all the numbers. Recently they started sending us numbers. I can't even remember, but I know we get maybe 1,000 or more in a year. And I've been working with Compassion for many years. And so for me, even if it's one, even if it's not like a thousand, even if it's just the fact that it can be one, can be that important life that is going to get that opportunity. And for me, that's the biggest blessing to have.
Amazing, man. You're a blessed man. You're a blessed man, man. So let's dive a little bit into music. Now that tumeingilia kina Samu na Kera.
Kwanza Samu.
Samu shida. Shout out to you, Samu.
Lakini Samu ni chopi, actually wote ni machopi. Ni vile tu ile yani ukimwambia onge kangoso. Well, size of course right now they live here, and so it's nice. But tukio mtaani. Ken alikuwa anajaribu. Kera ako sawa. Kera actually alianza kuenga nilikuwa shanda Kangore. That's the only person from Kangore, and mpaka alikuwa ongea kizungu like an American English, like a very good English. That's ndugu yake. Ndugu yake acha hiyo tuachie hapo.
So I think let's get into the music beat now.
Muziki.
Tuingie kwa muziki hapo. I want to know how ulingiaje, how did you mpaka kwa DJ? How did you get into that?
Wacha tuseme yani, some of these things like you just get into. When you're coming from hustling life, like ile strada kuna any. Ukiona ka opportunity, whether you can do it or not, unajirusha ndani. And so for me, it's not like, I will not lie and say I was one of the best DJs. I was okay. Kulikuwa na DJ wanoma sana. But mimi ni zile strada nimetoka Mathare. Chuo nilisoma mpaka form 4. But after that, that's it. Na unajua mtaani hata kama watu wamechoka bado wakuli nini. So for me, music was like, first of all, going back to Mathare, I used to see a lot of DJs from secular coming in.
You're working at DJ nani?
Hey, dude, I can't even remember, man. It's been.
Okay.
I was a little kid.
Adrian?
No.
But Adrian
no.
alikuwa
See, bougie. Nah. I'm talking about wale ma DJ wa reggae.
Oh, okay.
Wale one. There was one that alikuwa kito. Sika alikuwa Papaleti ama I can't remember, but okay. There was one that was very popular, and ni zile za disco matanga. It's not like something like well organized. Ni zile za kuna matanga, mnaleta DJ ama tu ni nini. Ama once in a while when there's a gig, sometimes there's a wedding or something, we would do that. And for some reason, I used to enjoy, not mostly dancing, although I enjoy dancing, but just the guy on the wheels. They're not talking, they're not saying anything, whatever they're doing, and they're making people happy, they're making people dance, and I really enjoyed that, and I thought this is a cool thing, but my thought never didn't go far.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, later on, nikakuja nikaokoka. I became a born again believer, and being in church, especially those time, man, DJing was like, actually we didn't even have a DJ.
Yeah.
Because the first ever gospel DJ in Kenya was DJ Mose. But before Mose, there was no DJ. And
Kev
came much later.
Kev later.
Mose is the godfather.
Hapo hivyo. DJ
Mose ndio unampatia salute because he really started this. And Mose actually moved from secular DJ to gospel.
Yeah.
And so I remember before Mose came, I think that was around the time of Kirk Franklin and all that. One thing about me, I love being a believer, but I hate being a boring believer, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I still want to look cool.
Yeah.
I still want to, nataka tukiongea nayo utaona ati mimi ni fala. Unajua kuna sometimes tulikuwa chekini kama Wakristo ni wafala.
Yeah.
There was that time where it was like ukishaokoka unavaa semangani, unavaa ka high waist spender, alafu zile straws za don't touch my shoes.
Yeah.
And zile straws za man
unaongea na angle flani.
Exactly. Me, I was like, I don't think that's something that I would enjoy. And so, musically, I wanted something funky. And so when Kirk Franklin came out and the Stomp and all those,
Mary.
You Want Revolution that particular time,
yep.
Man, I was like excited about gospel music. I was like, I'm happy I'm a believer. I would still be a believer hata kama kungekuwa na ngoma kali.
Yeah.
But those kind of things started exciting me and getting me there. And then I still didn't think of being a DJ. But then DJ Mose came out, I'm like, ooh, okay, that's really nice. And then even when Mose came, I wasn't like, oh, I want to be a DJ because there is DJ Mose.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's cool. I would go to the gigs and all that. And so what I started with, it's actually very funny, and I know many people don't know this.
Yeah.
There was a group that used to call sundayschool.com.
Sundayschool.com.
Yeah, that was before social media and everything. So sundayschool.com is a group that I joined, a group of guys that we used to do like very funny dancing. Okay. We'd wear like a mocorino and then dance at like a Kikuyu funny song, and then with all those dances we do like a Kamba song, a Luo song.
Okay.
Like we've done Mwadhani, and then we come up with like some funky dances.
Yeah.
And then we did Yesu Lishinda, when Simba wa Yuda, Lishinda. So that and like we did like almost at least we did like a few tribal songs that are gospel, and it was really funny. And so that thing ilianza kuwa poa sana. And so what happened, there was another group that was actually very what's the word? They're very hippie, hype.
Yeah.
Gospel dancers. They were called all over sasa. No pun intended, but mpaka right now I haven't seen a group that was dancing like those guys. I kid you not. Those guys, and they were really well organized. Like wanakuja, they do the moves, and then in between they break and bring somebody. There's a guy who used to be called Kuku. Nakumbuka Kuku, the guy who alikuja akaanza kuimba some secular baadaye. There was Kuku, there was Ian, and there was Bogs. Those guys would come in between and do some funky breakdance. Like the way they used to organize their set, man, it was amazing. And so the leader was Oscar.
Okay.
Oscar was very brilliant mind. And so our leader was actually called Nimrod, but Nimrod was also leading us with Njugush of K Crew. And if Mose was the official DJ of All Over.
Yeah.
So what happens? Okay. Yeah, what happens? I think when Njugush started working with Mose, Njugush saw what we were doing, because Njugushi anakuanga ni msemo mwingine mcreative mbaya sana. He will see something and he can see further than hata ukuona.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened because mimi sikuwa juanga huko, but niliona tu sisi na Olova wameanza kufanya kazi pamoja. And so what would happen is that Olova would come and do all their funky stuff and all that, people would be dancing and all that, and then they would break through. And then you will see tumkikuyu tumekuja na mavilemba zao, wamekuja na za Kikamba, za Kijaluo and all that tumekuja. So you're like here, and we never announced us. So you're here dancing and all this funky stuff, and then you're like, who are those?
Yeah.
And then we'll break, and then we would like, I'm telling you, it was really amazing. I don't even have any footage of that, but there's a time that we did one in Nairobi cinema.
Yeah.
And man, that thing so far was like, the sound was really good.
Yeah. But
people were screaming and shouting, we could not even hear the music.
The highlight,
Yeah, and so for me, that's how I got into the music. Like, it wasn't through like funky DJing and stuff. And so doing all that, I was, of course, most of the time Mozo would be there. And, and now in the story, we allowed for the DJ started coming back. And we started chatting with Moz and all that. And so Moz alikuwa encourage here and there.
Yeah.
But then even when at some point I decided to start. But when I started with DJ Nebs. It was actually one time that I went
Nebs, spin rate DJ.
Yeah, spin rate DJ.
Yeah.
There's a time we went to a sacrifice concert somewhere in Nairobi Baptist. Ile ile inakuanga nini? No, ile Pastor Ambrose ni gani?
Parklands Baptist.
Parklands Baptist, yeah. So there was an event there. I think Kev ndio alikuwa anapanga mamoja. But then there was another DJ there. His name was DJ sikumbuki jina yake.
Okay.
But he had just moved from secular.
Okay.
And then he was like really calm guy and easy to talk to. I talked to him like, hey man, I would want to be a DJ.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're a DJ.
And it's not Soxy.
No, it's not Soxy.
Okay.
I would know Soxy. At Soxy alikuwa ameanza bado.
Yeah.
Soxy bado alikuwa na wazee kanisani. He was still doing, actually also started doing something like that.
Yeah.
And so, this guy, how am I forgetting his name? I haven't talked to him in years, probably.
Okay.
That's why. So what he told me, you're a DJ. That day, like I'm like, I want to be a DJ. He just assured me right now, you're a DJ.
Amazing.
So start looking at yourself as a DJ.
Yeah.
On my way home, I was with DJ Nebs, and we were going together to Mathare, and then I was so excited, and I started sharing that with him. Man, is this guy, man, I think I'm in college, I think I want to be a DJ. Nebs didn't say anything. I think a day or two later he called me. He's like, man, when you're telling me about you wanting to be a DJ, I wanted to be a DJ too.
Ooh.
So how about we do this together?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I got nothing to lose. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
The only thing I know, I'm a DJ because that DJ guy said.
Me. Yeah.
And so we started.
That's how you started Badilika DJs?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nebs had a few CDs because his sister and mom live in the US. And so they would send him like new songs and all that. So, and he had a Discman. So we started that Discman and a few CDs.
Wow.
So our first gig was there's a friend of you remember, was it Jack Adongo? There was a guy who was
Jack
working.
Odongo.
Yeah, there's a guy who was in the government. Dota zake walikuwa mapesa zetu. She had alikuwa graduate. Alikasikia cinema DJ akisema, you guys are DJs, come and DJ. Dude, we have a Discman. Yeah. No, actually before we did that at Jacadongo, there's a gig that we did in Mathare. By this time I had started a group called Ghetto Raisers in Mathare. We were doing dancing with some friends of mine there.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to raise the ghetto. Ile watu wajonga ghetto na kuanga. We want to raise that CV. What was the ghetto called?
Yeah.
The image of ghetto, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a place called Jobless Corner in Mathare. Jobless is where those people at wale watu wananga job wanaenda huko. Just to hang out there. Used to be called JB.
Okay.
And so that's where we did our first concert. And so since we had said we wanted to be DJs, the previous year we had done it. Moz came.
Okay.
The second time, we wanted to bring DJ Kev. DJ Kev of more sound. But my son was kuingiana because of one thing or another. So what happened? Tukaambiana sisi tunajisimanga cinema DJ. This is it. We did a gig, a big gig. We had one Discman. We borrowed another Discman from another friend of ours from church. Alikuwa Ngure. So Ngure's Discman, Nev's Discman, and CDs and Nev's, we burned a little bit more CDs. Pia Ngure alitupatia masidi kadhaa.
Hakuna kuscratch, hakuna ni tu.
I'm telling you,
kupanga tu.
you talk of humble beginnings.
Yeah.
So the gig, But that jobless corner is like there's a crossroad, like kuna barabara inakuja hivi, nyingine inatoka kwa main road pale Juja Road. So actually from Juja Road pale pana gas station iko Eso. So from Eso when you go straight all the way to Mathare up on your jobless corner, but then there's another road that is cutting across. So watu walikuwa meja east side and all the way mpaka huko. Wow. I'm telling you, it was a big gig. Ma DJ pale hivi tumejificha. Tunacheza ngoma. Ukisema ati will it DJ, you will it yourself my man. Because I can only play and pause. Ati ule wasanii wakonga ati pull up DJ. Pull up. My friend, pull up ni wewe sasa. Wewe song ishaanza, enda nayo. If you want me to pull up, just tell me niambie mapema so that I have the same song this side and the other side. Ama I do replay and then you have to wait when you replay, it has to read you have to wait for it to read.
Yeah.
But that's how we started. And just doing that gig, a lot of people didn't know what we were using.
Yeah.
People had a lot of fun. We did the ministry was really good. A lot of people got saved, and that was the main point. And so after that, we were like, wow, I think we can do this thing. And then that's when the Jackodongo daughter came through. She actually used to go to Daystar. She had just graduated. So imagine Toto Jackodongo. I don't think jina yake ni Jackodongo. I know it's Adongo. Remember the Adongos?
The only one I know is Jack.
No, it's not Jack.
Odongo.
It's I think actually he used to work in school alikuwa kwa nini shule.
Okay.
Working in the government somewhere.
All right.
So like siku ito kwa gig ya mtu mkubwa kama huyu. Dude, we still have one Discman. So ngure tena niaje kale ka Discman kako niaje. Kapata Discman na CDs, and then our Pastor Wagata really loves sound. He's so good with sound equipment and all that. So he had bought 2 speakers, really powerful speakers. Alafu church yetu ilikuwa na another PV mixer. PV. Alafu it was the one that very heavy. So we took those and we went to a gig, an all-night gig.
Wow.
And we played. So the good thing is that Nevs alikuwa akona kabushi kidogo. So my hip hop nini Nevs got that. Local nirushie mimi Morocco, mimi nilikuwa Rocco. And we did the whole night. It was really good. And that was the first time we earned in a gig. I think she paid us 2,000 shillings, and that was like wow, we can make money out of this. I think sika tulipatia pasi tawa masotano. But we just tulikuwa tumia speaker zake. And so that's how I got into music. I'm like, you know what, I'm actually a DJ now, and I don't care what people are gonna say. Nime make chapa na hii kitu. Mimi niko sawa.
Go and check out we'll try and put it here as a cutaway. Gospel DJs. Daddy Owen. That's why I saw you. DJ Arosto. And I think kwa ngoma za zaidi muziki.
A couple of them. Because
I
was a DJ, so I would hang around a lot.
So how did you become the official DJ for Sauti Muziki?
Sasa, hiyo ni a long story.
Summarize.
Actually, so when we started with Nevs to do DJing, so in our church there was a guy who was doing sound. His name is Mr. Masharia. Mr. Masharia used to, I don't know if he still has that. He used to have a company called Nairobi Projectors. So he had like all the projectors. Actually at that point I think he was even doing sound for president and all that. So because he used to come to our church, so whenever we had a big gig, we'd go to him like, mzee, tuko na event hapa, tutusaidia na equipment. Nasema chukueni to the speaker. Man, he would give us like really good sound. And so that word ikaanza kwenda around, badiliko na kuanga na sound power. We were probably not the best DJs. I could tell you for sure we were not the best DJs. We didn't have the best DJ equipment. But we had a good sound. And haikuwa yetu, but we didn't care. We had access to it. And so I think for Zaidi Mziki, how we came to work together was actually, we did an event, Nairobi Projector. Mr. Masharia's daughter is married to a guy called George Okudi from Uganda.
Okay.
Polo Banga. The guy who won Kora that year. So when he won Kora, we were planning an event for them. So we did an event in the same Partners Baptist. So when we were doing the event, so she called us to help us plan the event. So we did all the planning and all that. So inviting all the artists, we did all that. Doing all the promo, so they were doing the financial part, we were doing the promotion part and connecting with the artists and all that. My friend, let me tell you, that event tuligonga mawe. Sikia kugonga mawe. It rained. Alafu mimi sitakudanganya. Kula mtu aliweka event nyingine. Sasa hataja jina yake sasa hivi. Kuna mtu alikuwa mkora sana kwa industry. Tunamjuanga hiyo industry alikuwa na nikaa kazi yake alikuwa ni kunyaga watu vichwa. So we did an event in Parklands Baptist and alafu kanyesha. Alafu akafanya event yake Tintin Restaurant KCC. So watu wengi mimi niliambiwa kuna watu walikuwa kwa stage wanaambia hiyo event haiko and then ya TNT. I don't know. That's what I was told.
Tintin.
So what happened eventually let's say we had good list of artists, but the audience were 2 or 3 gathered. And this guy was such a big guy. Do you know how big he was?
Yeah.
Eric Wainaina attended the event. Because Eric Wainaina, he knows so much about African music.
Yeah.
He came to the event.
Yeah.
But because of not starting in good time, people not being there, Eric and I had met before.
Yeah.
And so he could recognize who I was. So akikuja kamba, I didn't know you're the one who was doing this. Kamba, mimi. Akasema, man, unfortunately because of our schedule, we're not able to be here for the event because you guys have started late.
Yeah.
So tukamrudishia chapa zake manzeni Eric, lazima upatie respect.
Yeah.
But anyway, we ended up doing the event hata kama ilianza late, ilikuwa where 2 or 3. We actually had even media guys. Like it was like a well planned event. Ni vile tu yani sijua kuliendaje na audience. And so with that event, the idea mziki, that's when actually Lena and Kabere, when they were Jogsi, that's when they were like really big. And so we had them, we had the OM, we had like Porcupine was actually them. So we had like a good lineup.
Yeah.
Sita, I don't know, a group that was called Sita. Right. So like we had a good list, a good linear of artists. So what happened here? Wala tulikuwa panga na event, the lady, because the event didn't go well and they had a lot of bills, hata ile pesa iliingia kwa mlango wakachukua na and that guy did a very horrible show. He was very proud. He came there and he was like, you guys don't know, in Uganda I would do a very big event in a stadium. The way he everything about him was like really bad.
Yeah.
Even the few people that were there wakaboeka. Porcupine, him being the MC for his Porcupine alipatia haipoa. Let's give up. Then when Okudi came over, after he didn't, Porcupine had to come hug, he didn't hug him. Long story short, everything went south. In the morning, maartist wanakuja nani kutisha pesa.
Yeah.
Sini mimi na kina Nevs.
Yeah.
Nevs naye alikuwa mjanja, anajuanga so Nevs apatikani.
Yeah.
Oh, Nevs alikuwa na Denver actually.
Yeah.
But because mimi na kina Lena tulikuwa tunajuana, so walikuwa nanihanda mimi sana. So they wanted to take hata Daddy Wayne alikuwa. So Kabere alikuwa na wachocha. Anaambia wase tuchukueni keyboard kama tulipi pesa tuchukueni keyboard. So Kabere alikuwa na kuchocha lakini hawezi chukua.
Yeah.
Chukueni actually Owen alichukua guitar. No, either I think Owen alichukua keyboard and he was going with it. Alafu hiyo keyboard ilikuwa hata haikuwa ya church, ilikuwa ya Pastor Wagata.
Yeah.
So sisi tuko zile straza, manze pasi akiona na ilikuwa ni Kog.
Yeah.
It was a very expensive keyboard. So tuko zile straza tuka-agree mimi na Denver na Neville.
Yeah.
How do we get this thing back? Haraka tukagada tukasemaje tuwapeleke machine yetu ya ku-DJ. We had like a new mixing equipment. Lakini tukifika akishatupatia nini tuhepe. So that's what, na tuko Parklands Baptist hiyo. So tukaenda tukamwambia okay chukua machine juu basi hiyo ni keyboard ya pasi. Akatupatia keyboard. Tukamwambia tukupatie Lena wakazusha. So tukakosana kabisa, like it was really chaotic and they needed to be paid. They should have been paid.
Yeah.
So eventually sisi wenyewe pia we don't even have any money.
Yeah.
Because even the guys who walikuwa na pesa walihepa. So sisi tunakuwa hapa hivi tunachukua noma si yetu. So eventually tukaenda. So later on of course ikacommend hata we are not talking to these guys. Then Lena and Kabere called me. Wakaniambia mzee, najua noma iko yako. Lakini lazima tusafishe jina.
Yeah.
They are really reasonable. They were like, I know you guys have access to Nairobi projectors. This idea, we are doing a launch. They are launching their album, Wacha Reality Tembe. Wacha Reality Tembe. So they said to let a sound.
Yeah.
And then we are equal. If unge settle akina Joksi, then you're good because Lena ndio alikuwa the biggest.
Yeah.
Na Lena ukituliza Lena umetuliza kila mtu.
Yeah.
So we're like, deal. Nikaenda nikamwambia kina Nev, nimepita na kina Lena, wanataka tuwapatie sound.
Yeah.
Kasema okay sasa, but they wanted the Nairobi projector sound. because they knew we had that access.
Yeah.
But by this time, we are not in good terms because vile kulienda. So what happened is church yetu ilikuwa na sound poa sana. So pasia Deliverance Church is
Eastleigh.
So kama pasia waga hata yeye na sound hivi.
Yeah.
So akatomeniaje hii sound ya church walikuwa wanafanya Nairobi Poly.
Okay. Kenya Poly. It's not a big venue. So akasema let's take this sound. So akina nani walikuwa wanapelekea sound ya Nairobi projectors. So tukaletea sound ya church actually wakaitisha Nairobi projectors, small speakers, just imagine we sacrificed church mzima. Well, Sunday service they gave us their whole sound. We go and take it partial side sana Wagata. Wow.
Tukatoa sound ya church masabufa nini tukaenda tukatumia huko. So because our soul kwa kijua sound ya Nairobi projectors vile inakaa, they had a show in Nation Center hiyo morning show ni will be launching the album na DJ Kevo alikuwa naye kwa radio na wakamaliza. So they were coming to see the sound because it's their show. So there was a church that was happening there that morning kwa hiyo hall. So we waited for them to finish. Wakakuja wakaangalia sound iko. Kevo akawachocha, so wana enjoy hii sound iko. My friend, sikabaki wakasema tutaki sound. So si tumetoa sound ya church waletee alafu wanasema wataki sound. Basi akisema nyinyi endeni church. Sound siko hapo hivyo wakitaka wataitisha. So they didn't have an alternative.
Yeah.
Kabla akapigia mko wapi? Kujeni mset up sound. So because walikuwa wamesema sound si poa. Church yetu ilikuwa na engineer noma sana sound by the way.
Yeah.
Like really good guys.
Wow.
Pasi akasema all the engineers let's go and set up this thing.
Yeah.
Sisi hata tukubuza sound. Yeah.
Aero safi man.
Manze wali set up sound. The sound ilikuwa yani it was perfect for them. Ilikuwa very good.
Yeah.
Even when Jambiro was performing akaniangalia akasema inaweza.
Yeah.
Nikamwambia I told you guys.
Yeah.
And so from there we became friends, tukaanza kuelewana. And that's how I became the official DJ. Later on when they merged with the gospel fathers.
Yeah.
So mimi ndio jealous wow. Like I said, I was not the best DJs, but I was the most available DJ and I was their friend. So when we go in the streets, wakipata gig, ndio DJ hapa hivi.
Yeah.
Naenda nafanya event now, and that's how I actually came to the US.
Yeah. I want us to take a break, eh?
Yeah.
Ukikuja part 2, you're gonna tell us that story about how you now came to the US.
Right.
Because you guys were doing that too. But najua pia ulifanya events live, eh? Watu wanafikira events live ni kazi rahisi. Uleta Isaac Blackman Kenya. To the ceiling. Acha tuchukue a break. Yeah, man. I'm having an amazing conversation, as you can see, with my buddy here, Jambiro.
Yeah.
We'll catch you on part 2. Don't miss, man. It's gonna be amazing.